Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and this is going to be a day two overview and analysis of everything I did at the fan festival during the second day. Just gonna let you know, I'm currently recording this on Sunday, even though I'm talking about Saturday. So I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. I'm gonna do the tags, and I'm out the door because I gotta get going. I'm already a little bit late. So if this is in 360p, just let it process a little bit longer. It won't be in 360p for that long. So with that out of the way, I'm going to be talking about day two. A lot of people look at it as day one. Day one was really just for the people here. You know, we were at the reception. It was just a socializing event for everybody here. So there wasn't really any news. There wasn't much to talk about other than my initial impressions of it. So this day two is day one of all the events. As you can see here, I have a schedule. Just so you know, the giant black bar is registration. Everything else is events. So I'm going to be talking about each of these events, what I was able to get out of them, as well as my experiences on the showroom floor doing the different battle challenges and some of the stories that I have from there. So upon getting the door, we had to get there about 2 hours early to get a decent spot. We still could have gotten there earlier and it would have been way better. But that's what we ended up going through. But once we go in, there wasn't really anything to compete against other than maybe the merchandise line, which wasn't even open yet. VIP got in early. They got to go check out the Merc line, so they got a little sneak peek ahead of time. And then so we just picked our seats, you know, socializing a lot, saying hi, pictures, tons of pictures when the doors opened, and I was sitting down. I was sitting down in a pretty noticeable spot, so a lot of people come up, ask for pictures, handshakes, autographs, things like that. And it was fun. I loved doing that. I loved doing that all day yesterday. I mean, you'd think it would get tiring, but I'm not going to turn somebody away. They went out of their way to come to say hello to me, ask for a picture. I'm not going to turn them away. And it was always a blast. They always were just so nice about it. To every single person was so nice about asking for a picture. People like didn't want to bother me. Guys, I wasn't bothered by it at all. Thank you so much. If you're watching this and you're here and you took a picture with me, please post it on Facebook or Twitter because I want to see all of the pictures at the end of the weekend. They were all great. I had kind of awkward smiles. I was like this at times because sometimes people's cameras wouldn't work right away, so I would my smile would start to be like, or I wasn't looking at the camera. I took some pretty bad pictures this weekend, and my signature's not so great either. But I did my best because I just wanted to, for everyone who asked, I just wanted to be able to give them what they asked for, what they wanted. That's just how I wanted to do this weekend. So during that time, like I said, just socializing. But then the keynote address started up. Sorry for the congestion early morning. And this was the opening ceremonies. If you had the premium stream, you saw this stuff. Hype. Hype, hype, hype. Expansion got full-blown announced. Heaven's Ward Final Fantasy XIV going to be launching in spring of 2015, which pretty much puts it on par for 3 or 4 months after patch 2.5. So there's not going to be a super long content drought. There may be an extra few weeks of content drought. We don't know. They didn't give us a solid date, so they're obviously still leaving it open in case they need to work on certain things. So I'm going to guess anywhere between April and June. Even though June is more summer, I'm still going to leave that open as a possibility. So they announced that, said there's going to be massive new areas, and they put emphasis on the word massive. They're not going to be apparently like the zones we have now. They made it seem like where they're sectioned off very often. So that was one big thing, you know, a lot of people looked at 11 and 1.0, like these areas were really big. Even World of Warcraft, these areas are big and there's no loading screens between them. So I'm sure that's more of what they're going for with this. And they said we're going to be covering the northern half of Eorzea, as well as floating islands, floating continents, and things like that. So basically, we're going to be able to go to the heavens. We're going to be able to fly to get there. They didn't give us a full-on hint. They didn't say flying mounts. They did say that the free company airship feature that we heard about, you know, some time ago that they've been thinking about, that was going to be a feature in the expansion. Max level cap being raised to 60, and that's not just for Disciples of War and Magic. It's also for Disciples of Hand and Land, which I could see how they could do that. It's very easy to do. I was kind of surprised that they would legitimately raise the level cap on that, though. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be. A lot of other games, when a level cap is raised, they increase the amount of skill you can increase it by. It's probably easier for recipe implementation or something along those lines. I don't know. What else did they have? Multiple new jobs, plural jobs, and one of them was teased a little bit later. So we did get a semi-confirmation about one of those new jobs a little bit later in the day. I'll mention that when we get to the dev panel. So other than that, they talked about the lore. We're going to be going to Ishgard for the 4th city state. So That's gonna be good. They showed us the foundation, the inside of it, and they showed us that it's more of a war-torn area. Now, it doesn't look like the super safe city states we have now. It's an actual, active war because they've been in this 1,000-year war with the Dravanian horde, the dragon horde of Dravania. They showed us one of the areas, the Dravanian Forelands, and they went all out with this, man. They really wanted us to know certain things, issues that people may have had with the game that were being worked on specifically in terms of aesthetic with the areas that we're going to be going to with. And one big thing is originality. They also said that there's going to be a bunch of new primals and that one of them will actually be a Final Fantasy XIV original. But the rest of them are not going to be Final Fantasy XIV originals. So that means that be on the lookout for primals from other games. I mean, we've already kind of ruled out, the ones that are in this patch, but I don't know. Start looking for the ones from Ivalice, from the Tactics and Final Fantasy XII universes. Start looking for other popular recurring summons from the Final Fantasy series. I'm sure we can expect to see it quite a bit of it. And that was pretty much all the keynote address was. They left the nitty-gritty details out. We can expect those at a later time. London Fan Festival is going to have some more stuff next week, and the Tokyo Fan Festival in December is bound to have tons of more stuff for the expansion announcements. After that, they pretty much went and let us go on our way, and people started lining up for all the different events. I got right in line for Odin, and when they opened the gates, everybody just went. The Merc line was going, the Odin line was going, and it was a blast. Didn't beat Odin the first time around. Definitely some things that we didn't pick up on quick enough. We also had, I think, like 3 or 4 people playing jobs that they were very unfamiliar with. So we went in with we went in with a plan that just unfortunately did not pan out the way that we were hoping it would. But got back in line, beat him the next time around. The music panel had actually started by the time I got to Odin the second time around. And during our first attempt, we were doing fine, really ahead of the DPS check. And they just blast music into our ears for the music panel. And we just all jumped, and I think that's how he lost the last 2% of his health. And then next time around, though, we beat him. It was still really close, but we beat Odin the next time around, which is where I got this. I beat Odin t-shirt. It was so good to get this shirt. This is my first earned Odin shirt. One of my mods, Mike, he actually gave me an I Beat Leviathan shirt because he beat Leviathan twice apparently, and he got 2 shirts, I guess, from the last event. So he got that to me as a gift. Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate that. I beat Leviathan all the time at home, so it's not a lie. Anyway, let's move on. So the Odin fight itself, because I know you're probably wondering, I am going to do a standalone video about it, but a lot of AoEs. We didn't need 2 tanks. I think the one attack sang tall, or I'm sure I butchered that. I think that actually is meant to split damage between the tanks, but nobody did it that way. I wanted to try it during one attempt, but our tank was like, don't even worry about it. I mean, yeah, I know you could try and figure that out, but I mean, it's doing like 2k damage to me. It's not that big of a deal. I was like, yeah, all right. I just figured. It looks a lot like Odin's auto attacks from the Fate, which are split damage, which is why I thought that. There's no tank swap mechanic though. So I guess that was just because it was the fan festival, and a lot of people were going to be playing with pugs. I wanted to make sure it was at least beatable with pugs. So with that out of the way, the only advice I have is silence Einherjar, or Einherjar as it's spelled but not pronounced, because that was probably the biggest move that was wiping people all day. It's just a bleed on everybody, and then he immediately summons Gungnir's within like the next 20 seconds, and those put a bleed on everybody as long as they're alive. So all of a sudden you're taking 650 damage every 3 seconds on top of the tank damage, on top of Odin's regular moves, and it can be really, really hard to get through those if you don't silence Einherjar. And then the last 15% DPS check, you have to make sure you kill him before he finishes Shin Santetsuken. It makes for a really hype last few seconds of the fight because it was really close. Like, even if you had really good DPS, it could still be a really, really, really close. Like, we didn't even get a third set of Gungnir's, but we got Shin Santetsuken at 15%. And it was definitely something, man. It was so much fun. Healers go DPS. I was just yelling, healers, cleric stance, go, 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 yes! That was basically the end of every single Odin fight, though. And it was just a great experience to get to beat that with viewers, with fans, with people that I met here. It was just an amazing experience. Moving on, like I said, that happened during the music panel. The music panel was already like half done by the time we actually got out of the Odin section. So I didn't get to see too much of it, but it seemed to me when I took a brief look that Soken was up there and he was showing people his creative process for music, and he played a few things. He showed what it would look like in the music editing program itself, and there are definitely people who definitely got hype out of that. I got hype out of Odin. So there's two other panels. The lore panel I'll talk about briefly. The lore panel was a lot of fun. It was Koji Fox and Bayonne. Both of them were there for that. Koji Fox works with the he's a big part of the localization team, the lore and localization team. And so he's the one he's one of the ones responsible for all the bad puns you might see in the fates and the quest names. And he was talking about how every single patch, like 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, has as much text Japanese to English as like a Kingdom Hearts game. So it's like translating a full Kingdom Hearts game every patch, every 3 months. That's really intense. That's really intense work. And then they went over some really cool questions. I'm going to make a video on this on its own. They answered where the phrase "Thal's bloody balls" comes from. They answered, why certain enemies can hover above the ground, like their body structure, what allows them to do that. They answered some question about things from 1.0 that didn't exist anymore, things that were changed somewhere along the line. It was a really great panel, actually. It started off a little bit slow. It was very anecdotal, but it got really good as time went on, and it was a good laugh no matter what, no matter how you look at it. Now, before I get to the dev panel, I do want to talk about some other experiences on the activity floor. There was a speedrun challenge where they pit 3 groups of 4 against each other, and each group had to go Paladin, Bard, Black Mage, White Mage, and you had to speedrun Brayflox Longstop. You all start at the same time. First group to get through wins the challenge. So we actually won on our first try, which was really good. We had one of my viewers. He's never Paladin for a speedrun before. Excuse me. He'd Paladin before, but never Paladin for a speedrun. So he picked it up, did really good. Also, one of my mods, Mike, the one who got me the shirt, he's usually a Dragoon, but he went White Mage. He's like, I can do it. I was just like, just Swift cast Holy. That's all you get. Just Holy. Just keep holying. And he did a good job. And also, Joe Never was like, I think that was the second time he played Black Mage ever. And he's just like, what's the AoE rotation? This. Got it. Went in. We messed up a little bit at the beginning, a little Quelling Strike scuffle that caused the Black Mage death, because he went ham on those pulls. But we still managed to pull it out. We still managed to get the fastest time. And for that, we want a poster. I know it's a little bit hard to see because of the glare, but to me, honestly, I can barely see it because of the glare. To me, it just looks like a bunch of adventurers inside of Hawk Manor. Really cool poster. Another thing I did was the Frontlines event. Frontlines event was really, really fun. What ended up happening, though, it's 3 groups of 24, by the way. It was a full 72-man Frontlines. When we were doing the queue, we were 71 out of 72, and then the queue dropped, and my group didn't get pushed in. It turns out someone from my group of 8 didn't press yes. I still don't know who it was, and personally, I don't care, because it ended up making one of the funnest moments of yesterday. So what was happening was we were all told to drop party and join in progress to get into the front lines. So we had to wait till it started and then join in progress. However, both of our other alliances, the other 16 people, left. So now they had a 30-minute duty queue, cutout time, which I think they should have somehow, I don't know how they could have done it, but I feel like they should have took that away, that 30-minute, thing, just to make sure the event could go faster in case of a bad scenario like this. And we were 8 versus 24 versus 24 versus 24. We went unkilled that entire time. We were just trying to be heartbreakers for both of the other groups. So we just went straight to Manors, took out the adders there, capped it. Flames came behind us, tried to cap it. We killed them. 0 deaths at this point. Adders come back up the ramp. We killed them. We go to the adder outpost. We kill them there. And then we started spawn camping the adders. Our group of 8 had 0 deaths. The entire 8 versus 24 versus 24. Of course, we didn't get a win, but we were heartbreakers for the twin adders, and it felt great. I went 11-0. Joe Never went like 10-0. It was a lot of fun. I was so hyped after that. But when they finally got us back in for a real 24v24v24, we didn't win that. I know once there were more objectives to take, and it was more team oriented because of the 24 versus 24 versus 24 nature, and everybody having team speak and communication. It was we just couldn't pull it out at that time, but they still gave us the victory stamp because we had to sit through all that extra time, and this actually cut into the dev panel, and I got this poster right here. Again, I know I'm trying to keep the glare out of it, but it's really hard to keep the glare out of the picture. So another poster, looks really cool. It is a Frontlines poster, pretty much. You can even see people in PvP gear in the poster. I see a guy in the Lions gear. Now, there were also tons of other events. There was artillery, archery events. I didn't get to do archery yet, or the live quest. I did the photo booth, which I'm going to try and find the picture on Facebook at some point after this weekend. But for every single event that you at least participated in, they gave you a little class badge. Excuse me. So here we go. So for each of the events that I helped, complete, that I participated in, got one of these little badges. Here's a pugilist fist. Here's this. Here's a gladiator right here. And here is, I believe that's thaumaturge. So those are the 4 I have so far. I still have a few more to collect today to finish out my activity book, and I'm going to be looking to do that soon. Extreme Primals, Live Quest, and Archery today. So, unfortunately, because of the cut-in times for how long that Frontlines ended up taking after the lore panel, it cut into our dev panel time. So, from what I understand, it was mostly them just talking about algorithms, battle systems, and things like that. I did catch the latter half of it, which was, to me, the most important part, because there were not huge announcements, but really big hints. They're basically announcements. But for the beginning, they introduced 2 guys. They introduced a Mr. G and a Mr. D, which was very confusing to me because, obviously, I had no context for any of it. Thankfully, I had some notes to read about it. And Mr. D, this is what confused me. Mr. D was apparently God, which confused me because I thought Mr. G was God because his name was G. You know, I just got a little confused about it. And apparently they call him God because of, you know, what he does for the team. And apparently he's responsible for quite a few things that people definitely, well, they hate and they like at the same time. They were showing off some of his prior work, like Naval Extreme is something he worked on. Ultima Hard Mode is something he worked on. The second coil, he's worked on that as well. And he's also set to work on the third coil. So if they praise him so highly, I'm hoping the third coil is really good. I couldn't tell much from that 2.4 trailer about the intensity of the coil itself. And after that dev panel, it was just wrapping up any events. Unfortunately, at this point, a lot of the events were coming closed. But at the end of the dev panel, they brought Soken on. They showed the trailer one more time. Soken, cool guy, having some fun. Made a few quick announcements, even though the night was kind of winding down at this point. So the first one was that Soken's going to be performing with his new musical project, the Primals, or they say if he finishes recording, but they basically made it seem like, yeah, he's going to be here tomorrow night performing with the Primals. They're gonna be doing an assortment of music during the closing ceremonies. The other thing was we were told to try and get hints from Mr. D, I believe, for the new jobs. For Mr. G or Mr. Their names are so confusing to me. One of them was trying to give us job hints, and basically he was like, I was gonna wear a shirt today, and it was a Batman shirt, and I had the dumbest reaction to when he said a Batman shirt. I was like, wait, bat armor is for ninja PvP gear, and then I cut myself off mid statement, like, wait, bat gear, that's ninja Oh, he means Dark Knight. So basically, they confirmed that Dark Knight's going to be one of the new jobs. They didn't flat out say it, but I mean, come on, with a hint like that, they were even like, oh, I really like the Christopher Nolan Batman film, specifically hinting at the Dark Knight. So it looks like Dark Knight is going to be one of the new jobs in the expansion. Please look forward to it. Hi. Hopefully they'll have more information about that, if not at London, at the Tokyo Fan Festival as well. And then for the rest of the night, tried to get back into some of the lines. Extreme Primals, they told us you guys are probably not going to get in. Got artillery done, archery, they cut us off as well. And so just sat around hoping that Yoshi P would come out, and he didn't. But overall, it was a really, really fun day. I had a blast going around. A lot of standing, a lot of waiting in line. A lot of people will probably call it a line reborn. Excuse me. I think I've already heard it, actually, a few times. People say, welcome to the North American Final Fantasy Fan Festival, aka a line reborn, because a lot of it is socializing. I mean, that's what a big part of it is, but the other big part is waiting in lines to try and get into these events. Hopefully the lines today aren't that bad. General admission is today, so I'm a little worried about that, but I mean, we'll see what happens. So anyway, guys, I am running late, so I'm going to cut this video off now. I managed to get, Heaven's Ward information, the max level raise, my experiences with the Odin, showed you the posters for all the challenges, music panel, lore panel, dev panel, the Dark Knight, quote-unquote, announcement. So I think that's everything that I need to get through for today. Like I said, when I come back, I'll be making more videos about it anyway. So if you missed it, don't worry about it. I'll be going into more detail about it when I get back home. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share if you haven't already. Although if you're watching this, I'm sure that you already were. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.